Hello and welcome back to my monthly favourites. Everybody seems to really enjoy my monthly favourites from January, which is a new thing I'm trying to do this year, just to show that even though I like to live a minimalist lifestyle and a more minimal and simple way of living, I can still enjoy things, and I wanted to share with everybody the things that I've been enjoying this month because a few people seem to be interested. Now, if you want a bit more details on why I've decided to start doing this, just check out my previous video, which was January monthly favourites, where I go into it in a little bit more detail. But for now, let me share with you my monthly favourites for the month of February. My first monthly favourite for the month of February is this book called Odyssey, and that's by Jean Rose. This documents the journey of Orland Bartholomew in 1928 to 1929, where he set off on the first solo winter assault of Mount Whitney and the Muir Trail area. He did a solitary ski trek 300 miles across the Sierra in California in winter, which is incredible, and personally I have experienced what the Sierra is like, and that was in the summertime, so I can only imagine how harsh the conditions must have been for him during winter. And not only was the story amazing, it's actually taken from his diary entries. So somebody's actually recognised that this book needed publishing, and I'm so glad they did, because not only is it a fantastic story, but the photographs in it are incredible. And when you consider that this was in 1928, the technology back then of photography and the conditions that this man was under, I think he was talking about temperatures well below freezing every single day. It is incredible that he managed to not only do this trek, but he managed to do photography while he was out there as well, which is insane. Anyone that doesn't know, the Sierra Nevada is a rugged range, and it's the dominant physical feature of California. One section, the High Sierra, rises above the rest and forms a network of peaks and spires interspersed with deep canyons, rushing rivers and alpine lakes. Altitudes are often over 14,000 feet in the High Sierra, and many people have met their match out there. Not many people have lived to tell the tale once they've had problems up in the mountains. There is the famous party called the Donner Party. I don't know if anyone's heard about that. And a lot of them perished up there in the mountains. They were even forced to cannibalism. Even today, the Sierra takes a frightening toll from people. Search and rescue perform hundreds of searches a year, and the numbers are increasing because there's more people wanting to experience the magic of these mountains from books and from adventures like this. Orland Bartholomew is quoted as having the spirit of Charles Augustus Lindbergh, the drive of Jim Thorpe, and the stamina of George Mallory. It could be one of the most ambitious feats of any man in this century, and it was an amazing read. I think I related to it so much more because obviously last year I was trekking across the Sierra Nevada and I experienced a lot of the passes. I mean, he talks about Glen Pass, Muir Pass, the Bishop Trail, and it felt like it was just resounding so much with me as I was reading it, and some of the challenges he was facing, I was also facing out there. Not to the extremes of him, but it was kind of strange because I won't tell you too many spoilers in case you want to read it yourself, but there was one section where he talks about doing Whitney, and he wanted to tackle it because he didn't think anybody in a winter had done it before. And I tackled Mount Whitney, and as I was reading it, I was kind of cheering him on, thinking, please get to the top, please get to the top. And on his first attempt, he failed, and it sounds strange, but it made me feel better because I failed as well. I know mine was in the summer, but he was talking about the snow and the ice walls on Whitney and how difficult and challenging it was. And it really was difficult. And I turned round and he turned round, and this is a man that knew the mountains. He was a real mountain man. He had a lot of respect for the area. He'd grown up in it and he'd spent all his life skiing and trekking and hiking in the mountains. He was some kind of, what did he do? Something to do with streams, and he used to measure the depth of them, and that was his job. That's how he first got into the Sierra Nevada area, and it was just a fascinating read. And I thought it was lovely because somebody actually sent me this book, somebody called Stephen Jan, and they sent me it in the post, which was so lovely of them because I would have never have heard of this book before. So because of the kindness of two people I've never met before sending me this book, I was amazed. I just thought it was fantastic and I just couldn't wait to read it. And when I started, I couldn't put it down. Bart, as he would like to be called, was a very modest man. He didn't do this for fame or glory. He did it because he was passionate about it. And apart from a few newspaper articles, not much had been heard about it. But in 1970, Jean Rose, who actually wrote this book from the diaries of Bartholomew, he overheard some people talking, these three young mountaineers, saying that they'd done their first ski across the Sierra section in winter. And he was like, I'm not really quoting him here, but he was like, hang on a minute, somebody else has already done that. So he wanted to put the record straight, which is why this book exists. I loved this book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think I read it within the space of a couple of days. It was fantastic. I am a big fan of Ludovico Einaudi, and he is an Italian pianist and composer. He is renowned for bringing classical music back to the mainstream. And for Christmas, I got a music book so I can play piano music to it. This is called Essentials Einaudi, and it is called Islands, which is a selection of songs from his Best Of album, and it's specifically transcribed for solo piano. And I have been enjoying this so much this month. I have been trying to learn one of the pieces in particular. I'm not saying I'm very good, but I have enjoyed trying to learn it, and that is the Dietro Casa piece, and it is such a beautiful piece of music. I'll probably try and insert a little clip of me trying to play it, but please don't judge me. I'm not a classical pianist at a high grade. I have done piano for a couple of years, done a few different grades. I think I've got up to about grade 4. And I just enjoy playing. It's just a little hobby of mine. I'm not a professional, but I enjoy it. It gives me a lot of joy. Nestling in the West Yorkshire Pennines, on a riverside Victorian textile mill, there is a company called Darkwoods Coffee, roasting their coffee on a vintage Probat drum. Okay, that's what it says on the website, but it sounds so amazing, doesn't it? And this is one of my other favourites this month. It is coffee, and not just any coffee, but Darkwoods coffee. And oh my goodness, I had tried this coffee before I went away months and months ago and fell in love with it instantly. The first one I ever tried was this one called Crow Tree, and then I went away and had to encounter instant coffee again. And yeah, I'm a coffee snob, can't help it. And I think I've said in previous videos how much I enjoy my coffee. It's one of my vices. I don't have many, but that is one of them. But this coffee is incredible. I used to have the Taylors of Harrogate coffee and I liked that, but then I've tried this, I couldn't go back again. And it is a little bit more pricey, but sometimes you pay for what you get, and it is extremely tasty. And I went along and purchased said coffee because I couldn't choose. And I just thought, we'd driven all the way out there, we'd done like this little family day out, we'd gone for a walk along the canal and across muddy fields, and we popped into the pop-up coffee shop that they have once a month and sampled some of the coffee, and they sell it at the same venue as well. So I thought, I've got to try it. We've travelled all that way and I'm going to stock up because it's going to be a little while until I get to go again. And I am so glad I did. I honestly cannot tell you how delicious this coffee is. It is incredible. What I like about the company is that they only work with fully traceable specialty grade coffee. They choose their producer partners very carefully, and farmer welfare and responsible farming practices are just as important to them as sourcing the best tasting coffee. Because they do this, they ensure they're getting the best ingredients, but also that their farmers are fairly rewarded for producing such high quality coffee. They pay much higher prices to the farmers and try and work with them year on year. Many of the farms that they work with, they visit to develop these good relationships. And even a few of the farmers have made it to Huddersfield. There's a guy from Brazil who I believe visited them during the heat wave a few years ago and left with a vision of Yorkshire folk swimming in the reservoir behind them, which I can imagine is quite a distant memory these days. The standard price for one of the 250 gram ground or beans is about £8.50, which isn't terribly expensive when you think I'm only probably having 1 coffee or 2 coffees a day at most. And when you go along to the pop-up events, they do usually do offers, so you can buy 2 and save a couple of pounds as well, which is what I did. They have been awarded so many great taste awards than any other coffee manufacturers this year in the UK. And they also have a barista school. They roast everything by hand on a 1950s Probat drum roaster, and the mill by the Huddersfield Canal is incredible. It is such a lovely place, and it kind of makes you want to go live there. The smell when you're walking in is just fantastic. I would have to say my favourite is this Crow Tree one. It's a medium to dark roast, and the tasting notes are dark chocolate and red berries. My next favourite is the Deer Hill, and that is a medium roast, and that is supposed to have notes of hazelnut and chocolate. That's the one I'm currently drinking, and I thoroughly like this one. It's the Under Milkwood. This has got like a caramelly taste to it. It tastes a lot milder and smoother than the other ones. Now this one is a winter blend, and it's called Snowstone. They don't run these all year, and I was lucky enough to get the last one in stock at the event, and that tastes of chestnut, dried fruits and dark chocolate. Now the one I haven't tried yet is the Good Morning Sunshine. That's still on my list. I've not opened it. I only have one open at a time, and that's supposed to taste like French toast on a summer's morning, so I will let you know how that tastes once I've had a little go of it. You can order all these online at their website. It's free delivery as long as you spend over £40. But I like to go up there, have a little walk around, because the area is beautiful, and you can buy it. Just check on their website. It tells you exactly when their pop-up cafes are. At the moment it seems to be the last Saturday of every single month. I can't say enough about this company. I think they've got a great philosophy about what they do and how they work, and it tastes delicious. Next up isn't anything I can show you as a physical item, because it's a song and an album that I've been listening to. And obviously I don't have the CD version of it, I've downloaded it, which is why I don't have anything in my hand. But I'll insert a little clip so you can see which one I'm talking about, of what it looks like. And he's a guy called Michael Rosenberg, better well known as Passenger. He used to be in a group called Passenger, but now it's just him, but he still keeps the name Passenger. And he is a British songwriter and artist. I'd say the style of music is probably indie folk, and his music is just so relaxing. The album is called Sometimes It's Something, Sometimes It's Nothing at All, and it's just a very nice mellow album to listen to. There is one particular song of his that I have been listening to an awful lot, and it's actually from a different album of his called Runaway, and it's called Eagle, Bear, Buffalo. And the reason why I think I've been liking it so much is because it reminds me an awful lot of the PCT. There's a lot of words and terms and expressions in it that make me relate to how it felt being on trail and out in the wilderness. Some of the lyrics, I've written them down, is where all the trees grow old and tall, makes me feel so young and small, make me wonder if I'm here at all, who am I to see? Lake so clear you can see the ground, make all the mountains hang upside down, makes me wonder if I'm the right way round, and it doesn't matter anyway. Some more lyrics are worn out souls and aching bones, the ending of the day, where you listen to the wind whistle her tune, coyotes sing by the light of the moon, if I ever leave it'll be too soon, but I know that I couldn't stay. And it kind of melts my heart a bit. What's even sweeter about the album, Sometimes It's Something, Sometimes It's Nothing at All, is that when he released that album, he decided that all the profits for it will go to a charity based here in the UK called Shelter, which tries to prevent homelessness or bad housing within England and Scotland, I believe. And the reason why he did this is because as he was busking, he's from Brighton originally, he found that when he was on the streets, he realised how bad the problem of homelessness is, and he wanted to give something back, which I think is incredible, so good on you, Michael. Now, my final but favourite thing for the month of February are my morning walks with Derek, and this is a new thing that we've introduced. Over the winter it has been dark when he's still been leaving for work on a morning, but over the last few weeks we've realised that there's an opportunity on a morning, because it's lighter now and the days are longer, that we can get outdoors. So we literally get up, throw on our hiking gear and go out for a walk, and well, obviously after coffee. And it has been incredible. It's not just the fact of going for a walk and getting outdoors and getting fresh air, but it's having that extra quality time together as well, which I absolutely love. We have coffee, we go out and we chat about our plans for the day and just have that extra time, which is what I think a lot of people could waste. Just by having an extra half hour in bed or an hour in bed, we've managed to get into a routine now where we're up and out and just chatting and experiencing nature and watching the sunrise. Well, we've not seen the sunrise that many times, it's been raining quite a lot. But the other day we went out and saw an owl, and this was like 5 minutes out of the door, and it was incredible. I mean, I did have to run back and get my camera because I didn't take it out with me, but just to have that time in the morning to kind of wake up with nature, it's the closest thing I can get apart from being out on the PCT or out on a trail again. And just having that time, it makes the day feel longer as well, like you've had more fun. And I think there's that work-life fun priority thing that goes on, and this definitely increases the balance of enjoying life compared to just working or doing things. And I would say that's the most special thing at the moment that I'm enjoying, and I can't wait for the mornings to get even lighter sooner so we get even longer outside. I think there's even talks of us getting up at 5 o'clock and doing like an hour or two of hiking. So I can't wait. I just love being outside, and then it's so nice because then when I get home, Derek goes to work and I just crack on with my writing or my YouTubes or what have you. And I feel like I've got my exercise done for the day as well. It's incredible. It is such a lovely feeling. I hope you have enjoyed hearing all about my monthly favourites again this month. And as last month, please share with me your monthly favourites and what you have been enjoying this month. Because I think it's so important to reflect on all the positive and the happy things that are happening in your life, and to recognise and acknowledge things and appreciate the little things. I think it's really important to not let things pass you by, because I think sometimes it's easy to think of the negatives or things that go wrong, whereas I'm all about thinking of everything that's going right and cherishing those special moments or those special things that we have. And that's the whole point of me trying to live a more simple life. It's to get rid of all the clutter, get rid of all the things that I don't need to be doing or thinking about, and just enjoying what's left. So until next time, goodbye.